Hi, I'm Mike Mew. These are our series of questions in September 2025. I downloaded your app, bought the subscription, but I think you need to get into how to actually swallow without using facial muscles. You push your tongue up to make a smile to not use facial muscles, but I can't swallow anymore, laugh out loud. I think what you're teaching is when saliva is on your tongue, you push it up against the roof, but saliva is under your tongue and you have to pick it up somehow where sucking helps. Okay, so my immediate answer is you lack tongue space. Okay, as I say clearly in the app, if you massively lack tongue space, you're likely to get problems doing it. I've answered questions on this problem, exactly this problem before, about people struggling to initiate a swallow when they have been swallowing their entire life the wrong way. Swallowing is a unique thing that you do. It starts as a conscious effort and it moves through to start a subconscious thing. You have to initiate a subconscious reaction. Now, we have two mechanisms of initiating this. One is an infantile suckle, okay? And the other is an adult swallow. Now, what it sounds like is you're struggling to initiate the adult swallowing mechanism, okay? And the main reason you will struggle there is because you lack tongue space. And if your saliva is still on the floor of your mouth, if your saliva is still on the floor of your mouth when you're swallowing, you have not done a very effective sweep. You've got to do a sweep to get the saliva up there. So the easiest thing is to make one swallow, then after that swallow, do the sweep, okay? And it doesn't matter if you've got some saliva still underneath your tongue when you swallow. Who cares? You can come and get it with the next swallow. You've got a pump action. Pumps are used to having more fluid waiting in reserve for the next pump action, okay? Pump, 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 then you've got all the fluid out, okay? And of course, when you're doing lots of micro swallows to get a max vax, you're gonna pump dry. So, this is really normal stuff. There's a lot here because you were saying you're really struggling not to use your facial muscles and then you're struggling to initiate a swallow. You're a suckler. I bet you have big buccinator muscles, okay? And I bet your big buccinator muscles, remember, they're not totally like icebergs because there's not 8 times as much or whatever it is underwater. There's just the same amount. So as much as your buccinator muscle sticks out here, your chubby cheeks, they're also sticking inwards on the inside. So you'd find your lower teeth tipped in like that, quite a lot. Upper teeth sometimes are upright, sometimes are a little bit tipped inwards. It's slightly different angulations. But I bet you've got a narrow tongue space. So you're probably down to a tongue space of about 30 millimeters. You measure between tooth number 6 at the back here. So between tooth number 6 at the back there, the absolute minimum distance. When you get a caliper, a measurer, and you just grace between, I bet you not much more than, let's say, I'll give you a 32 maybe. It sounds like maybe less than 30 millimeters. And you're the type of guy who may well need some artificial assistance to get yourself going. We're constantly discovering this, you're in a hole. If you're too far down into that hole, you're going to need a huge amount of effort to change. And maybe you're in a situation where you're going to need some artificial assistance to get going with mewing. But my thoughts is you have never changed from an infantile suckle to an adult swallow. And so you are always initiating a swallow with your tongue coming out sideways, where you should be initiating a swallow with your tongue pushing up on the roof of the mouth. I mean, there's these intrinsic, there seems to be. I mean, these are educated guesses. We don't know exactly, but push with your tongue on the roof of the mouth, and that can stimulate a swallow. You make a wave push, and that will stimulate a swallow. I can do it very effectively. I have had people who struggle, and they mainly struggle because they lack tongue space. I have a misaligned jaw. How does it affect my mewing, and how can I fix it naturally if possible? Well, if you have an asymmetrically misaligned jaw, that's going to be slightly different than if your jaw's set back or set forwards. Now, as a general rule with mewing, we're not trying to change things. I have thought so hard of the wording 1,000 times over of how I would describe the treatments I was doing. and I had two treatment protocols. One was I was conservative, and I would more or less leave people as they were. So I would widen them with the teeth all still relatively in their own natural position, because when they're in that position, you can bite comfortably, then you can exert more force, and it's more conservative. And then I would have a much less conservative approach, and I would do this for younger children, where I would basically disassemble them and then reassemble them in a new position. And clearly one is much simpler than the other. Where if you're going to disassemble people and reassemble them, you've got to be able to reassemble them. And that is a tough thing to do. So the number of people who started orthotropics therapy, which this is my father's treatment system, where we would literally disassemble people and reassemble them. And the number of people I know, practitioners who started some cases, got going, but were unable to complete the cases because it ended up in a mess. Okay? Because you've got to know how to finish a case. And you've got the kid motivated so that they finish the case. And that was hard work. But that's treatment. Okay, really clear, that's when I'm doing treatment on people. Now I'm going to take that analogy and move it through, Tudor, to you. That when we're mewing, we're not disassembling things. We're not going to change the position you bite in. That, if you're going to do that, then you need to get help. You need to go and see an orthodontist or a surgeon or someone like that, and you're going to move the whole thing forwards. With mewing, we're just going to take what you are and make you comfortable in the skin you're in and get you improving your own posture. So you're not going to change the misaligned jaw. You're going to get better, but still with the misaligned jaw. So the next question is from let's say. Hello, my face is asymmetric. I mean, my right jaw muscle grew well, but my left muscle is too weak. How can I fix it, please? Answer me. So you've got three elements. You've got a central element, which would be the tongue effect, and you've got for me, right and then left effect, which would be the muscle effects, the masticatory effects. Now, ideally, the tongue effect is going to center you. It's in the middle and it will always tend to center you, and the muscle effects tend to lead to asymmetries. And because we no longer have a strong tongue effect in modern society, we tend to be predisposed to asymmetries, to sum it very simply. So, and this individual here is saying that his left muscle's too weak. How can he fix it? And that there's a tendency, I don't know, if you're right-handed, I don't know, but there's a tendency for you getting the right side being more developed on people. Yep. And, well, in reality, it's very simple. Use the left side. Okay? It's remembering to use the left side all the time that is the hardest thing. And if you've got an asymmetry, it's really, asymmetries are really, really complex. I'm always saying that one day I'm going to take a skull, several textbooks, sit myself on an island somewhere and really get my head around asymmetries, because by default, any asymmetry is in all three planes of space. It always is. And they're really complex and they are hard to understand at the best of times. Now, clearly, the real answer is get your tongue working, get the tongue effect working, and that will just help stabilize and balance things. The trouble is, once you start growing asymmetrically, it is really, really, really hard to correct it. We did loads and loads of great cases in children under 8 years old with asymmetries, and we had such success, and it was just like, no one was interested. No one was interested in what we were doing. I'm guessing by the fact that you're online and you're writing this, you are over 8 years old. And if you're over 12 years old, you're pretty grown, you're pretty much grown. Your head has finished growing. You're still flexible, and that's the beauty of, all these mewers you're seeing, they're all grown, but they're flexible and they've managed to achieve change from that flexibility. And It's interesting. I just want to put a plug. We're going to be looking at getting a competition. We're going to have a mewing pageant, so to speak, a little bit. I want to find the best mewer. I mean, there's so much I know, but so much I could learn from you guys out there, and the best way is to find the best mewing outcome. We clearly need to check people aren't cheating, they didn't have surgery. Although clearly that interests me, because I've seen people who've had surgery that go on to improve up and beyond the surgery they had. But either ways, we want to go and find the best mewer out there. And you have got to become a good mewer. There's no way around that. And it's really simple what you need to do. The problem you're going to have is you lack tongue space. Because if you've developed quite a significant asymmetry, and if you have significantly weak muscles in the left, but generally if you have weak muscles on the left, that means in general you have a lower total muscle strength. So I would imagine you haven't got a lot of tongue space. It's just a random guess here. But that's where you might need some artificial assistance to get yourself going. Next question is from Biggie Smokes 187. Can you make a video about thumb pulling? Is it effective or not? Yes, we're going to do this. That's something I really want to do. But it's just my life has been just absolute craziness. And also it's really hard. I don't have the time to just go in on these rabbit holes and go hunting, because what I need to do is go in, ask a load of questions, then come back, look at the answers, ask some more questions, and that's how we're going to get through. So what I think I'm going to do is do a video giving some of my thoughts and ideas. So I think thumb pulling could potentially be really effective, and I really want to explore that rabbit hole in great depth, and I want some people to come forward who are going to offer to help me get down that rabbit hole and get the answers. And I'm here to learn. I made a couple of promises many years ago. I think it was in Vancouver, wasn't it? I made the promises. One was to leave no stone unturned in my quest for the truth. And here we go. I want to know. I want answers. I mean, I think there's lumps of gold lying around on the ground, and the profession's walking around like this. We don't want to look, because we believe it's all genetic. And I think that's a shame. All right, so those are the questions. I wanted to make a summary reminder that we're going to be looking for the best mewing outcomes. I want to hunt the world to find the people who gain the best outcomes, to learn from the people who've done it, so that we can spread the information and help everyone. My real goal is to get prevention and then move on to help you with the minimum amount of operative work to get the best results. So try and work out how we can nudge you, or you mewers, with a little bit of artificial assistance to help you get the best outcomes. And by understanding the best mewing outcomes is really going to go a long way to help learn what we can do to build this whole thing and get better results, okay? To help you fulfill your full genetic potential.